Welcome back to Catholic Lunch Break. This is the weekly program where we catch up with all things Catholic in the greater Houston area. My name is Wyatt Goolsby. I'm the executive director of this radio station, KSHJ. We are blessed here in the greater Houston area to have a number of resources for people who are trying to live out their vocation and working through discernment. Of course, that also includes people who are trying to live out a sacramental marriage. But of course, marriage can be difficult in this day and age. The good news is there is a program that can help couples who are trying to reconnect and delve deeper into their own marriage, especially for those who have had trouble in their marriage. Join us to talk more about an upcoming weekend called Retrouvaille Weekend here in Houston is Michelle and Ben Kleiner. Michelle and Ben have been married now for over a decade. They attend Mass at Epiphany of the Lord in Katy, Texas. They went through the program a little bit over a decade ago as well and have been getting the word out about Retrouvaille. Ben and Michelle, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate you being here in the KSHJ studio.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
This, I admit, I've never heard of Retrouvaille before, even though I'm aware of a number of programs within the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston. Right. You guys partner with a lot of folks in the Archdiocese that get the word out about this program in particular. Michelle, I want to start with you. What is Retrouvaille first?
Obviously there's a lot of programs that you can attend or look for help in for your marriage. And Retrouvaille, the word actually means, it's a French word, and it's for that feeling when you come to see someone that you haven't seen in a long time, that reunion, that joy that you feel. And so at the heart, Retrouvaille is a marriage ministry, and we hope to help couples experience that reconnection, that joy again in their marriages. And the program it's been around for a while. It was started in the late 70s. By couples who attended Marriage Encounter, which a lot of people are familiar with. But Marriage Encounter kind of focuses on making good marriages better. And so those couples thought there might be a lacking area for couples who are really struggling in their marriages and trying to get them support. So they founded the ministry back in the late 70s. So it is a 3-phase program, and it starts with the weekend experience that you mentioned. So our one here in Houston is coming up October 3rd through 5th. And then immediately following that weekend, there's 6 consecutive weeks of post sessions. And those weeks, they kind of delve into some of the more common issues that marriages experience. So you've got additional support and instruction going through those Sundays that we have here. And then the 3rd phase of the program we call Core, which is continuing our Retrouvaille experience. And that is monthly meetings and social activities with members that have come through the program. And so it gives you that sense of community and support, a little bit of accountability to help keep your marriage towards becoming better, right? Growing a stronger marriage. And so that's just what we are. It's a volunteer, peer ministry. No one's paid. It's just trying to help couples have a better marriage.
And credit to everybody like yourselves who helps volunteer to get this program going and to be able to host a weekend like Retrouvaille Weekend in Houston. Again, like you mentioned, October 3rd through the 5th. Ben, I want to ask you about you and your wife's experience going through this program in particular. Give me a little bit of background here. When were you guys married, and then did you guys kind of run into trouble initially within the first couple of years of marriage, and that's what kind of led you to a weekend like this?
Sure. So when we introduce ourselves in Retrouvaille, we say, "Hi, I'm Ben. This is my wife, Michelle." We attended our Retrouvaille weekend in April of 2021 in Denver, Colorado. What's a little bit unique about Michelle and I is we actually attended Retrouvaille as a divorced couple. We got married in 2010, and we were married for 9 years, and we separated and ultimately divorced, but we attended the Retrouvaille weekend looking for a way to communicate better and kind of test the waters of reconciliation. It was such a profound impact on us that we found our way back to each other and got remarried about a year after we attended the weekend. So it was a very impactful program to us, to the point where we now volunteer. We are the community coordinators in Houston, and also involved in publicity and putting together different core events for the ministry.
If I may follow up with you, Ben, on that, what do you think were some of the big struggles in y'all's marriage that led to that separation? I know a lot of couples, for example, struggle with money, communication. There's just so many things that can impact a marriage.
Sure. And for us personally, it was communication that was our biggest struggle. We got married very young. And some of what we talk about in Retrouvaille is how your experience growing up as a youth within your family affects your communication style and how you communicate with your partner. So Retrouvaille helps improve that just by giving perspective and understanding of your spouse. But there are couples that have lots of different struggles within their marriage, and those experiences are shared by the presenting couples to give some help and let you know that you're not alone. There's a variety of problems that the Retrouvaille program addresses.
And Michelle, you had mentioned accountability kind of being part of this, but also just having some kind of community, other married couples, couples to be able to talk about some of these challenges.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is volunteer, so none of us are licensed therapists or, anything like that. The program really focuses on enabling the couple themselves better techniques of communication so that they can address and hopefully work on their marriages. So, like, for example, on the weekend, there is no personal sharing. That's kind of one of the questions that comes up a lot is like, I don't want to have to explain why I'm here. And it's like, no, don't worry. Like, you don't have to do anything like that. We're going to empower you as a couple to communicate and be able to kind of work through some of those issues. But at the same time, it is very compelling to hear someone speak openly about their own issues. And it does, I don't want to say normalize it, but as Ben said, it makes you feel like you're not alone, right? And so by sharing our stories and by having these monthly meetings, you do get that sense of community, people who have been there through that. I think sometimes we think this is just marriage. That's the way that it is. Like I'm called to marriage. This is my vocation. It's a sacrament. I can't give up. But marriage is meant to be beautiful. It's meant to be something that's enhances your life, not something that's a burden or a cross that you're bearing. So these community events that we do help people feel not alone and can get advice from people that have been married, 10 years and got a divorce, and then they found their way back to one another. I think that's a very beautiful story. And then there's people who've been through really significant hardships, whether it be medical issues, infidelities, financial, right? There's all kinds of things that can hurt your marriage over time and different phases of your life. For me specifically, I struggled with postpartum and a lot of mental health issues, and I didn't know how to communicate that to Ben. And I know there are a ton of women that go through that similar experience, and they hit that period of their life of like, is this it? Like, I'm just a mom. This is what I'm doing all the time. Like, it's really, really difficult. And in our culture, I think it's very much this thought of, if it's not working for you, okay, let it go and just, start something new, which, sometimes that is the healthiest option for the couple. We respect that. But this program would allow you that opportunity to ensure this is the right decision, right? You can move forward. And that was kind of our thought process. We will move forward from this experience as better co-parents. It'll help our children's life moving forward if we can communicate, or it'll be the most epic love story for us. And I'm very grateful that it's the latter,
I appreciate your clarifying, Michelle, that when a couple like you and Ben go on a Retrouvaille weekend, that's really the start of the process. It's not necessarily you're going to solve all problems within a 2.5 day period.
Exactly.
It's really the beginning point of that communication that's necessary in addressing. And I'm glad you guys also clarified there's a number of different problems that married couples can go through. And so I'm guessing, therefore, Ben, when you work with other couples, you and Michelle kind of talk with other couples, you guys have probably heard all different kinds of stories.
And we've heard the stories that people want to share. Like Michelle said, there is no sharing that's required. You can keep it a deeply personal movement through the program, or you can be touched enough to be inspired and share your story. And what that does is give a connection point to other couples to where you can set up social gatherings within Retrouvaille or outside of Retrouvaille and have that support. That's really where the core program comes in, that continuing our Retrouvaille experience, is you can make a lot of progress on the weekend and you can learn a lot of the tools through the post sessions, but it's staying involved in that core program that it's like a little refresher every month or every quarter whenever you can attend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Michelle, I want to go into the spiritual element of this. A lot of people come closer to God when a couple prays together. They go to Mass together, they participate in the life of the church. How important is that element in your marriage with Ben?
Oh, I think it's very important. I think, again, seasons of life, right? Your availability to certain things can change, or experiences may create a deeper understanding of your faith life. I do want to point out, though, specifically for the program, it is not a requirement, though it was founded by a group of Catholics, and it is approved by the diocese. We've actually had like a papal visit for the Retrouvaille program, which it's international, right? So they've had a meeting with the former Pope in Rome. All faiths are welcome to this weekend. So I do want to stress that it's not a spiritual retreat or anything to that matter, because sometimes people are cautious to attend something like that, thinking, oh, that won't apply to me, or I won't get enough out of it. So we understand, just like us, we've gone through seasons of our own faith and our own marriage, that couples that would attend the weekend could be at different positions, different seasons of their own faith life. But definitely, I mean, there's so many different varieties of ways that we've been touched by our faith. And I don't want to speak for Ben, but he's made some important decisions during our marriage, actually during our divorce, about his own faith.
I mean, that was one of our struggles through our marriage. Was we got married, Michelle was Catholic, I was not. I came to a decision through our divorce that our children were going to be raised in the church, and I didn't want them to spend every other weekend questioning why they were or weren't going to church. So I made the choice, and I went through the RCIA process, and I had some pretty profound impacts going through that process, to where we are now a family in the church. And to talk about the weekend a little bit too, is a priest is part of the presenting team. Mass is offered every day, but it's not required. Like
Right.
Michelle said, it's open to all faith groups, but it is a Catholic ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, do you feel like going through the struggle here of going through a divorce and then remarrying and then coming into the Catholic Church and all these things that you've gone through relatively recently in your life, do you feel that you personally have grown closer to God?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it has, it makes decision-making and self-reflection much better, because you have somebody right there with you. It's an arm around your shoulder when you least expect it.
Because I think in this day and age, people don't think of marriage, at least in our secular culture, as being sacrificial in the same way Christ sacrificed himself for us. But you guys, as a married couple, are one flesh. You become one flesh. And so that has transformed your lives. And Michelle, I guess the emphasis here is, like I said, that means you've had to make sacrifice for Ben. He's had to make it for you. And that's all part of the marriage process to really make it truly sacramental.
Right.
Tell me about then, do you guys, I always like to ask this if people come on our program, if you guys have any favorite prayers or favorite devotionals that you guys as family, you guys have 2 kids, by the way, that you guys like to pray together or do anything together?
No, sorry to disappoint. I mean, I think right now just our life is the testimony. I mean, our children will forever be affected by the Retrouvaille program, right? And our divorce, we kind of speak about it on some of the presentations that Ben and I do, that like, you know, a lot of people have grown up in divorce, and we say that our family has been affected by it for the better, right? And we're so grateful that we love differently, love deeper, love more authentically because of this experience. And so I honestly think just our children being there and being able to see this experience together and see us, that we are in the marriage program, that we volunteer with Retrouvaille, that alone is a testimony to faith, to trust, to forgiveness. I mean, we are living our marriage covenant daily in that regard by choosing every day, every, disagreement, to still choose to love, and it was big for us when we got civilly remarried, that our children understood that it was a commitment not only to the 2 of them, but to each other for the rest of our lives. And so I think that's our biggest prayer that we do daily, is to choose each other.
Very good. So it's a powerful testimony. I'm glad you guys are willing to donate your time and efforts to help other couples and encourage other couples to go through a program like Retrouvaille. So I want to recap the information. Retrouvaille Weekend in Houston is coming up October 3rd through the 5th.
Correct.
And the website, I'll give the general website for Retrouvaille. It's helpourmarriage.org. Log on to that website, helpourmarriage.org. And I'm guessing there's a tab there for the Retrouvaille Weekend in Houston. Right,
Yeah,
Michelle?
there's a find a weekend, because like I said, it is an international program. So when Ben and I made the decision to attend a Retrouvaille weekend, we had time as a factor. We didn't want to mess up this opportunity. So though there was a weekend coming up in Houston in a few months, we opted to go to Denver. And so couples do have that option. You could go anywhere in the world. You can make a real trip out of it and attend that weekend. And then you could do your post sessions with us here in town. And obviously with CORE, you would participate that locally. So yeah, there's some options there. But if you go on to find a weekend on the website, you can go by date if you want to find something quicker. But if not, you can do the Houston one. And for inquiries for confidential information, you can actually email Houston registration at helpourmarriage.org, and you can get contacted with our registration couple for more questions, some more insight onto the weekend.
Very good.
And we end up having a lot of couples from out of town attend our weekends too.
Sure.
So for those groups, we still involve them in the post sessions, but we get them in touch with their local
closest
Retrouvaille chapters.
Excellent. Very good. Well, we are grateful for you guys coming in and sharing a little bit about the Retrouvaille program, as well as y'all's own personal marriage and your story. Like I said, we appreciate it so much that you're willing to give of yourselves to others and help to ultimately build strong, holy families, which is something that we definitely need in this day and age. Michelle and Ben Kleiner, again, Retrouvaille Houston, thank you both so much. We appreciate your being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.